I want to speak to you today about laughing at the enemy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, we got ourselves into a bit of a conundrum here. Yesterday, I had planned to do Laughing at the Enemy. And I started recording, and I thought, what do I do here? Because we have to do a Laughing at the Enemy because the Vikings lost. We haven't had a lot of opportunities to do anything. But also, there's two major problems. Number one, they're very likely to beat the Rams. And so it's going to kind of suck to do Laughing at the Enemy, followed by the Vikings beat the living crap out of the Rams, like 12 hours later. The other issue is they could lose. If y'all recall, I did say the most likely to lose of the four teams was the Vikings. Number one, because I thought the whole time they were kind of overperforming. Number two, they're coming off a loss, which can be demoralizing. Number three, they're coming off a very difficult game and now have a short week, which is on the road across the country. And then, the other being just Thursdays are weird in general. Weird stuff happens. Then you put in Puka, Nakua, and Cooper Kupp back, and it just got a little interesting there. But I just thought, why don't we wait? Why don't we just wait and see what happens? And boy, oh boy, am I happy that I did. Now, there's a new issue. And the new issue is, well, we haven't even talked about the Jaguars yet. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to not worry about it. We're going to laugh at the Vikings. If there's time today, we will talk a little bit about it. If not, we'll just load up for Sunday. I don't care. It's fine. How much time does it take to go over the Jaguars? Because the whole thing is sometimes you really need to dig in to the opponent because it's kind of close, and it's a question of, do you think they're going to win or not? And that in and of itself is a major question. That's not a question this week. We don't need to do a deep dive into the nuances of why the Packers are supposed to win this week. So, anyways, by the way, shout out to Omar, the firefighter, for coming up with that Laughing at the Enemy intro. He got me those a while back. I did use one, I don't know, at some point this year. I don't know if it was a month ago or so, whatever. But it was the other version, which I'm torn on because this one sounds better, but the other one reminds me of Streets of Rage, which is a fantastic video game. So, I decided to switch it up. Not sure how I feel about it. Sounds good, though. Thank you very much, Omar. But what's funny? There's new AI stuff every 5 seconds. One of the new things that came out, Anthropic came out with a new version. It's upgraded. It's better at everything, which is great. But the super cool thing is that it can actually control a computer. And so there is a way to get it set up to control your computer. I got it set up just to control a sort of a virtual computer, a virtual environment, or whatever that's set up. And so you tell it what to do, and it'll let's just cut to the chase. One of the things I said is, hey, look, I got a Packers podcast. I'm doing a Laughing at the Vikings thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I need you to find me some material. This is before the game. This was, yesterday when I was going to do this. And so it starts digging up a bunch of material, and it's like the fans are pissed at how bad the defense is. Like, here we go again, defense. And I'm thinking, no, Robot got it wrong. It must have went back and found something from 2023, 2022. Who knows how old this is. Stupid idiot robot. And it's pulling all these quotes of all these people on Reddit who are just mad that the Vikings suck again. And no, turns out this is after their loss to the Lions. Granted, they did give up, 30, 31 points, something to that effect. But apparently Vikings fans had already began to implode after just one loss to a really good team. That wasn't even what I was really looking for. I was just looking for some statistics that showed how bad they were. I didn't expect Vikings fans to go into full meltdown mode. Now, again, remember, It is my belief that Vikings fans are very different than what you get in, for example, Bears fans, and that they tend to be more like Packer fans. Packer fans will have one loss on an otherwise undefeated season, and the general consensus is, oh, here we go again. This team's terrible. I hate this team. Malifaux's a piece of crap. But the bottom line is, all that does is make it all the more delicious when the Vikings lose a game. It's hard when the Vikings are bad and they were expected to be bad, but when they give the fans hope so that they actually come out of their caves and start having confidence, and then it gets crushed. Oh, we finally got something here. So before we officially launch into it, let me just talk about the face mask thing. Do I think that it was a face mask? Yeah. Do I think that it's stupid that these things are not reviewable? Yes. I've said for a long time now, I don't think there should be such a thing as something being not reviewable. Couple things. First of all, if there is an issue, like you don't want everything to be reviewed all the time, blah, 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 just let New York handle a bunch of them if you're really concerned about it. But beyond that, there's already a built-in mechanism to make sure that there's not a billion reviews and that we only give a certain amount of reviews to teams. I don't understand why anything in the world couldn't be reviewed. I mean, there are certain situations where, you know, the play gets blown dead and it's like, no, that was a pick six or whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter because when I blew it dead, even though it was a mistake, everybody stops playing. And so that changes the way things go. So even if we determine that you're right, it doesn't, we can't grant you a touchdown on that, for example. I understand things like that. I don't know why anything wouldn't be reviewable. Let me take it to the furthest extreme. If the Green Bay Packers felt like somebody was holding on a play, let's say there was a third down play, the opponents pick up a first down, I'm going to throw the challenge flag because I think such and such was holding on that play. They should be able to do that, review it, and if it was holding, then they call a penalty and they bring it back. Again, there's only a certain amount of challenge flags that you're allowed. So it's not like you can do that on every single time. And no, that wouldn't be super annoying. I wouldn't necessarily care. Why? Because it's not like it's that you throw out a flag and I can just erase something. There had to actually have been a penalty. And if there wasn't, then you lose a challenge. But beyond all of that, the replay officials upstairs should always be able to review absolutely anything and everything. Now, I don't think it was nearly as egregious as Vikings fans pretend that it was, because I was watching that over and over and over again on replay. I couldn't tell if it was a face mask or not. You could say his head turned, fine. But there, go talk to Lions fans about that when Aaron Rodgers got grabbed by his shoulder and ripped down and they threw a flag because his head turned also, because it certainly seemed like it was a face mask. Should we throw penalty flags for what seems like face mask, or should we make sure that they actually see the face mask take place? Because if the requirement is you have to actually see their hand inside of the face mask, then all of a sudden it's not that crazy that nobody actually saw that. Packers won a game against the Lions because, although I think it might have been a face mask anyways, but still, it was like the thumb hit the face mask as opposed to like the shoulder grab. I mean, in that case, let's just take it out to the next logical conclusion. Anytime you're getting sacked, if you're a quarterback and I'm a coach, and I say if you feel somebody grab your shoulder, jerk your head to that side as you go down, they'll throw the flag every time. Because it seemed like he must have grabbed your face mask. Again, I didn't know for sure if he actually got his hand inside the face mask after watching it 4 or 5 times on slow-mo. But here's the thing. I don't give a crap. I don't care even a little bit that that's how the game ended. In fact, I'm almost glad that that's how it ended. Because it's just salt in the wound, and it's just something for Vikings fans to complain about. Because here's the bottom line. You were not going to win that game. You were not. You scored touchdowns on your first 2 drives and not one time after that. And I'm supposed to believe that from the 3-yard line, you're going to drive all the way down the field and get a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion and win in overtime. That was not going to happen. Especially since first down already happened. And what happened on first down? The ball landed in the middle of the field with nobody within 10 yards of that play, of where the ball landed. Second of all, Darnold stood in his end zone for 45 minutes before he got that safety/face mask. He deserved a safety. How stupid are you to stand in your end zone for that long? So if you want to feel like you got robbed of something, go ahead. Allow yourself to feel that much more pain when really it's not necessary. You lost. And that's how much pain you should feel. The amount of pain that there would be when you just lose a game that you shouldn't have lost, as opposed to losing a game because the refs robbed you, which very obviously didn't happen because you were going to lose the game, and you lost the game because you were the worst team, because your defense couldn't stop the Rams. Well, it was a better Rams team. First of all, says who? Second of all, I don't really care. The best defense in football doesn't give up over 30 points to the Rams after giving up over 30 points to the Lions. I don't care if they're good offenses. If you're the best defense in football, you don't do that. But you did. So, no, I'm not going to sit here and talk about, the poor Vikings. Oh, no, it's terrible. I can't believe that. No, I'm just going to say, ha! Sucks to be you, bro. Now, it would have been different if, let's say, Darnold was on the 5-yard line and was rushing for a touchdown, and he's about to break the plane, and somebody grabs his face mask and rips him down, and it was 4th down. Yes, that would be different. That would be bullcrap. That would be upsetting. This is not that. I don't care. You were never going to do anything. Doesn't bother me a little bit. I just don't care. But I was called out by a Vikings fan being told that we have no reason to gloat, which I don't fully understand. I mean, the Packers are having a great season. They just beat the Texans, and the Vikings dropped 2 of their last 2. I feel like there's a lot of reason to be gloating and whatnot. But that's fine. That's fine. I think I've said my piece for the most part. We'll see how that goes. Why don't we just let Vikings fans do the rest of this for us? How's that sound? Okay, I can't speak on it because I'm not a Vikings fan. Isn't that how the modern young people act today? Like if you're not a part of the group, you can't know anything about it or something? Makes no sense, but I feel like that's the rules we're supposed to live by now. Anyways, let's go ahead and let some Vikings fans talk. First of all, no particular order because that would take way more time than I'm interested in. Let's go through some TikToks. This I find hilarious. And again, this is why I'm okay with it. Because, on one hand, you could say it sucks because now Vikings fans have an excuse. No, they don't. No, they don't. There's no excuse. And everybody knows that there's no excuse. But if you want to pretend there's an excuse, then you can go ahead and make yourself seem stupid. Here's an example of what I'm talking about.
To me, how the NFL is allowed to let this happen. That's a clear face mask. Like, what is the point of all of these replays, all these cameras? What's the point if you can't get the call right? Keep in mind, this is a Thursday night football game, the only game that's on. Where's New York? Where's the NFL headquarters making the call and telling them to overturn this? I mean, the ref is literally staring at Sam Darnold. If you're a Vikings fan, I'm sorry. You guys could have been 6-1. But no, you guys are now 5-2 because the refs can't get the call right.
I'm sorry. If we're going to sit here and pretend that the refs are the reason that you're not 6-1, give me a freaking break. There are 4 quarters of reasons why you're not 6-1, and that face mask at the very end of the game when the game was basically already over, that's some seriously pathetic bullcrap. On the other end of the spectrum, you have a lot of fatalist Vikings fans who are posting things like this. Context is pretty self-evident.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Now we get this perspective. And again, this isn't me saying it. As far as I'm concerned, first of all, I have no opinions on anything because I'm a lowly Packer fan. I don't know what I'm talking about. But if I did have an opinion, it would only be that the Vikings are amazing. But let's see what more informed people have to say.
Here's what I was thinking, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of like we went to the bar, and we've been having a great time for the last, I guess I'd say 5 games, right? The bar has been amazing, and the shots have been coming, and it's like, oh my gosh, here's the defense, and Van Ginkel, and give me a Van Ginkel shot, boom, boom, yeah, let's do that, let's do Jefferson shot, woo, Darnold shot, yeah, and you know what I think happened today? We woke up the next morning, and we saw Brian Flores in the bed, and we're like, Jesus. It doesn't look as good as I thought it was going. Like, I don't remember Brian Flores looking like that.
It's so uncomfortable right now.
So I have no idea what he's implying. I'm sure he's not implying that Brian Flores, they thought he looked good and then turns out, oh wait, no, he sucks. That can't be it. It almost reminds me of this thing I found on Reddit. Our Minnesota Vikings from TJD828, where he posted a meme, and it's Patrick, from SpongeBob, all jacked out of his mind in a wrestling ring, and it says the Flores defense. And then it shows the bye week on that, 3 hours later screen. And then it shows Patrick drooling on himself. I'm sure there's no correlation between those two things because that wouldn't make sense. I'm sure the Vikings defense is perfectly fine. Let's look at some of the comments to see if we can get some context here. Ill Eagle says 0 sacks. And then another guy says, can only hide that defense full of average players for so long. I don't know, man. I feel like if you take a bunch of average players and you just blitz all the time, be the number one blitzing team in football and just never stop blitzing, that you'll just win. I'm pretty sure that's just how it's just fine. Why don't we take our first break? We'll come back. We got more exploring to do because I'm still not sure I understand what's going on with the Vikings here. I'm trying to understand as a impartial observer what's going on with this team. Sounds like they got robbed by the refs, but also the defense is struggling according to some people. We'll have to do some more investigation after the break. We'll be right back.
Come on, get him! Get him!
All right, so, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to play that. That was from the Vikings versus Lions game. That accidentally slipped in there. I didn't push the wrong button. I apologize. Why don't we head back to Reddit again? Try to find out what the Vikings fans can tell me about this team. We got Dire Sickfish says the refs sucked, but they didn't cost us the game. Says the last missed call was obviously dumb, but we're still down 8 points. I also hated the ticky-tack holding calls, but we couldn't hold them to a field goal at all, and we couldn't score in the red zone. Heck, at the end of the half, we were tied, and that was before Darisaw went down. Some of the comments. Passing offense was great, 9.6 yards per pass. Rushing offense was not good, 2.9 yards per rush. Pass defense was horrible, 8.2 yards per pass. Rush defense was good, 3.3 yards per rush. So you can't run the ball and you couldn't stop the pass. Is that because of the refs then, or? Vikings Pain says, it wasn't just the face masks. Yes, we played bad and probably deserved to lose, but the penalties kept drives alive that shouldn't have been and didn't even give us a chance to try to come back. I love that phrase. I mean, this must be a 12-year-old. Didn't even give us a chance. The point swing because of penalties was probably at least 14 points. You are out of your idiotic mind. First of all, the idea that ticky-tack holding calls are bad calls is incorrect. They're correct calls that you think probably shouldn't be called. I'm saying that because that was a comment earlier that there were also a lot of ticky-tack holding calls. 14 points? Get out of here. By the way, if you thought that the refs cost you 14 points, why did you say you deserve to lose? Here's another comment. How could you watch this defense and think we have the talent to figure it out? They're precisely the problem. Our defense can't stop anything that goes to pass catchers. Our pass rush is gone. We don't have the talent, just like last year and every year since 2017. It sucks that Blackman got hurt and Jackson died. We were really counting on those two to be big-time contributors. Now we have to find 3 new cornerbacks next year to fill the voids, and with minimal draft picks and bigger needs at DT as well. I love how the comments vacillate between, no, dude, that was totally on the refs. If the refs didn't screw us, we would have won that game. And, dude, we freaking suck. Like, there's no fixing this. It's too awful. Then we have this, second half offense. Since the Houston game, we have 1 offensive touchdown in the second half. Is KOC failing to adjust to the adjustment? I don't know what that means. And we got Darnold never checks it down to Aaron Jones. out wide while under pressure. Multiple times you could see him look at Jones for the bailout pass, but instead just ends up keeping the ball and trying to be a hero on his feet. Do the refs make him do that, or how does that work? Got somebody that documented the drives in the second half. Goal lined, 2 unsuccessful runs, then JJ slips at break of his route and we have to kick. Red zone, Naylor drops a touchdown, field goal. Quest got his butt kicked and Darnold takes a brutal sack, punt, and then safety. It's weird. I don't hear a lot of penalties in there. I hear a lot of failure in there. That's weird. Is the Rams defense good, by the way? I know there's a lot of excuses about the Rams are a lot better now because they got their 2 wide receivers back, but I thought the defense was the problem. Am I wrong about that? I thought it was a bad defense, or is it a good defense that holds teams to 20 usually? Or was that their best overall offensive performance and their second best defensive performance of the season? Because I think that's the case. I think that was their best offensive performance and second best defensive performance. Yeah, that's what it is. God, for an offensive genius, his play calling is super predictable. It's insane how we have JJ and Addison and can't find them in the second half. Run, pass, run, pass will do that to you. I always said KOC was the weak link. If Flores' defense doesn't ball out and get defensive touchdowns, it's over. It's always been like this with KOC. 1 good quarter followed by 1 okay quarter and 2 awful quarters. Can't blame Naylor dropping a wide open touchdown on KOC. I feel like there's a lot of good points being made here. In fact, I think they're all great points. I think you're all right. You all get the prize. But I just want to be clear because, again, a super impartial, unbiased observer over here. So KOC is not a genius, and Jalen Naylor sucks, and you could not score, not because of the refs, but because of execution for the entire second half. Darnold refuses to check it down. No ability to find your top wide receivers in the second half. Is that right so far? Because, again, that's not my perception. My perception is elite offense, elite defense, great play caller on offense and defense, great everything. Perfect franchise. Shocked they've lost a game ever. But I just want to be clear from the standpoint of Vikings fans who would know better than me. Is that what we're talking about? How about this one? What blows my mind is Roger Goodell's daughter is a Vikings fan. Does he hate her? Because, it's Roger Goodell's fault that the Vikings lost. He goes on to say, I know FanDuel were going to lose a ton of money if the Rams lost tonight, so I get it. Get your bag, Roger. I don't know if he realizes Roger Goodell doesn't own FanDuel. Also, why would have FanDuel lost a lot of money if the Vikings would have won? I don't know that that's true. Do you think every time a favorite wins, these betting sites lose money? Because then they would lose money almost every single time. Feels bad to be the only NFC team without the refs on the payroll. Wow, so it's not just the Packers. It's the Packers and the Lions and the Bears. Wow, that's crazy. I'm guessing the Lions just recently put them on the payroll because they've been dog crap for decades. And the Bears, I don't know what the refs are doing for the Bears. I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. Is that also just a this year thing? Because prior to this, they've been a pretty bad team. Punish her team to maintain the illusion of neutrality. So Roger Goodell forced the Rams to win through magic, I guess. Because if the Vikings won, then they would assume that Roger Goodell was making the Vikings win through magic, and then people would think that it was a biased league to help his daughter. That makes sense, actually. It's not a bad argument. I'm not going to lie. It's a good point. We got another argument here. The NFL will never see the Vikings as anything more than fodder. It's a corrupt organization. It doesn't matter how good the Vikings are. The NFL will always pull the rug out from under them or throw them under the bus for their darlings. Yeah, like the Rams. Everybody knows how much the NFL loves the Rams. It's all you ever hear. Like 24/7 wall-to-wall coverage about the Rams. It would seem that the NFL is sniffing the Lions' jockstrap at the moment. While they've been garbage for a long time, the moment they are on an upward trajectory, suddenly the NFL has an unending love fest for them. By the way, this is from 4 hours ago, so this is not from a week ago. This is still just getting it off his chest, including the Lions. I'm curious, though. The Lions were terrible. They're not the darlings, and then they became good, and then they became the darlings. You guys were undefeated. Why are you not the darlings? I don't understand the logic here. Let's continue. Gambling has exacerbated the issue. Not only do they see Minnesota as some flyover worthless franchise, which, by the way, Detroit is in flyover country, as is Green Bay, as is Chicago. I mean, I know it's a city, but the whole region is And by the way, the Chiefs are in flyover country, but they're darlings, so I don't understand. Not only do they see Minnesota as some flyover worthless franchise, they have extra reason to influence the games to favor their chosen ones. I don't understand what that has to do with gambling. We played like crap, but there's no way the officiating didn't have a vested interest to help the Rams last night. The LA market is simply too big. You understand the Rams came into this game with 2 wins, right? I mean, you get that? You know, the Chargers are in LA and the Jets are in New York, sort of, as are the Giants. We will never win anything worthwhile. The Vikings are just a speed bump for the teams the NFL actually cares about. Okay, so I identified a couple issues, but let's just say that this is completely fair, because the crux of the argument here, which I think there's a lot of merit to, is nothing is our fault ever. Everything is a giant conspiracy. Even when I acknowledge that it was our fault because we didn't play well, it's still not our fault. It's everybody else's fault. Seems legit. All right, let's kick it over to a little bit of a recap here. We got a live video feed of a guy watching the Vikings-Rams game.
Lofts it, left side, Trent Sherfield, touchdown. The hell up on my face, huh? Shoot. Is this going to be a shootout? Or will the Vikings defense step up? Pressure couldn't quite get there, but Byron Murphy Jr., can you make a damn tackle for once? Jesus! Trying to make a tackle in the open field like he's a Harlem Globetrotter. Good protection. Whoa, nice play. A little bit off target intent. No, don't throw the flag for what? Holding on the defense. Okay. Well, it's going to be a first down. Oh, Byron Murphy Jr. Can't tackle, can't not draw flags on a big third down. What are you doing, man? A flag. Come on. Don't. Damn it. Stephon Gilmore playing the receiver and not turning around to play the ball. You can't do that, man.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm confused here. Does he not realize that these are terrible calls and that every single one of them is a conspiracy against the Vikings and that they're not real? I don't understand. The penalties aren't proof that the Vikings are doing something wrong. The penalties are proof that the refs are cheating. I mean, this guy, what is he doing here?
Ball snaps. Grenard's right there. Come on. Oh, my God. Two guys were right there. Could have got the sack, and he broke it, and that's going to be a touchdown to Cooper Kupp. My gosh, finish the plays, man. Another flag. All right, so the flag show is back. Well, it's the flag show. Protection. All right, stop. Hey, you got him. And a flag. Come on, man. What are we doing here? Illegal hands to the face on the defense. So penalties again. How many third down penalties are we going to commit?
Again, what do you mean commit? Who said anything about commit? It's not about commit. They're not committing penalties. The penalties are just happening to them. They're the victim here. Hello?
Oh, Rams. Hey, the Rams defense doing the skull chant. False start. Here we go. Flags galore. Hey, is Oprah out there where everybody gets flags? I'm going to watch flags. I'm going to drink some beer, damn it. 2nd and 25. Let's reset. No need to panic. No need to stress. You just got to believe that Mighty Ducks faith. We can overcome anything. Quack, quack. Can you imagine playing a drinking game? Drink every time a flag comes out? Oh, God. Defense looking soft. They're looking so soft right now. This is a 2-4 football team. Can somebody do something?
Again, I don't know what you don't understand about the fact that they're not doing anything wrong. They're playing perfectly sound football. There's no missed tackles. There's no mistakes. There's no bad calls. There's nothing wrong. There's only penalties. Get it through your thick freaking skull.
1st and 10. Ivan Pace he was so close to getting a sack there. So there's a flag. Flag on the play. Trey Blake and Christian Darrisaw's down. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Christian Darrisaw's hurt. And he's holding his left leg. What is happening? Okie dokie, Smokey. Christian Darrisaw, hope you're good, man. No pass rush. Throws a deep pass. Harrison Smith, you're right there. That's an offensive pass interference, bro. Come on. No. That's an offensive pass interference.
There you go. See, now he's starting to learn.
You're not going to call that? Hitman had a chance at that interception, and Puka Nacua fell down and swiped that Hitman's feet. You throw all these flags, but don't want to throw that flag? Okay. Throws it deep to nowhere. And Byron Murphy Jr., hey, he made a play, so you got an interception. All right. Lofts one up. Deep. Oh! 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 Oh, he got that! He got it! Oh, my God! Justin Jefferson with a great catch. Aaron Jones, the tackle for loss. That's not going to take the excitement away. Man, the man secured the catch on his shoulder pad behind his helmet. This man is great. Can't get a pass rush. Wide open 2-2. Hey! Hey! Oh! Hey! Bro! Byron Murphy! Hey! Another tip of the cap. Byron Murphy Jr. Tutu Atwell was open. I thought that was going to be a touchdown for sure. Vikings dominance. We are so back. Well, Shaq Griffin just gave up a touchdown to Demarcus Robinson. There's a flag on the play. Well, pass interference on Shaq Griffin. So 12 men on the field. How is that even possible? How, Sway? That's a touchdown for the Rams. Demarcus Robinson with his second score of the game. No one in the vicinity. He couldn't be more wide open than what he was. This Brian Flores defense has been figured out. Cooper Kupp, Stephon.
Figured out. Just get referees that are not paid off, and we're back in business here, son. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Gilmore. All right, this game's over. This game's over. This is. Are you kidding me? Can you try to cover? Gilly? What are you doing? All right, man. Yeah, you need to have tryouts. You need to have tryouts in Minneapolis. You are now. It behooves Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah to search within a 50-mile radius of U.S. Bank Stadium and hold tryouts for the cornerback position. Anybody want to play corner? Because nobody on this damn team wants to play corner. I might be able to get 75 yards on this defense right now. Let me play for the Rams real quick. I'm trying to see something. Should have been a face mask. Are you serious? Should have been a face mask. We don't want to call that? Huh? You call all these BS flags on everything.
By the way, it's funny how you can watch the evolution of a Vikings fan's brains, just the cloud of just how it's creating reality as it goes along. We listened to him agree with every single penalty. He yelled at his own players after watching them and realizing that, yes, those were penalties. And then after this, it was, you call all these BS penalties, but won't call that. Wait a minute, when did they become BS? You had no issue with any of those penalties throughout the entire game, and suddenly you're having this weird thing happen to your brain where you're re-remembering things, misremembering things, as all those calls were bad calls, and this was also a bad call, but in the other direction. We just watched it happen in real time.
A face mask! Yo, who is that bum-ass referee? That's all the whole thing. And it's a safety. You're a bum. You should be fired. I should get your game checked. Face mask happens in front of your face. Oh, I didn't see anything. Safety. Oh. I'm so sick of these idiots ruining the game. They get paid too much money to be this damn stupid.
I mean, I can't even disagree with him on that one. I mean, all that's entirely true. Way too many mistakes. I don't even know if they get paid or how much, but yeah, it's a decent salary, $100,000 to $200,000, $11,400 per game. Referees are estimated to earn, with the highest per game salary reported around. That's not correct. Postseason and Super Bowl pay. Says referees can earn between $3,000 and $5,000 per game. Super Bowl offers even higher compensation, with reports suggesting bonuses that can range from $30,000 to $50,000. Some cases up to, okay, so they're just throwing out random numbers now. I don't know, whatever. Bottom line is, yeah, I tend to agree, but still, it's freaking funny, man. It is, I'm sorry, it's funny, and I'm just going to laugh about it. And I'm tired of pretending it's not. Listen, that you could hear that whole thing and understand exactly what happened. He knew the game was over. He literally said the game was over. It's done. We suck. It's over. And that was just sort of a way of blowing off steam at how angry they are at everything else and turning that anger away from the team and toward the refs. But there was never a question about the referees prior to this. It was always a matter of our team keeps committing penalties because they're stupid. It was about how terrible the defense is, how terrible the corners are, how terrible the team is, how many mistakes they keep making. The game is over. We lost. And then a face mask penalty happens well after the time when it was already declared over. And suddenly it's these frickin' refs. They keep making all these mistakes. They robbed us. Happened in real time. Anyways, let's take our final break. I think what we'll do is maybe do a little bit more, but then we got to turn at least a little bit of our attention to Packers, Jaguars. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, a couple more from Reddit here. Vikings lost the game, not the refs. Yes, atrocious non-call. No debate there. The fact that the booth didn't step in and make things right makes my head want to explode, but our defense imploded last night. How many effing penalties toward the end of the first half? Also, 20 points in 59 minutes is not going to cut it. We have to do better. Go Vikes. This sub doesn't want to hear it, but KOC's play calling needs to be more aggressive. Going run, pass, field goal on our last two drives deep in the Rams' territory was terrible. Do we have good defensive players? And then he goes on to write, we have no defensive X factor, maybe Grenard, but it feels like everyone is reliant on the system. If Flores can't draw a play and get good pressure, it feels like no one is going to be able to hold their own. These assets suck. Not too concerned about this loss, but I am concerned about the lack of players that can consistently be a game changer. He goes on to add, the dinosaur Gilmore and highlight reel Byron Murphy are effing bums. Comments down below include talent level is definitely bottom half of the league. Everyone got hyped at the new players, and we've seen what Flores can do with better talent than last year, but I think we all forgot how awful the talent level was last year. Defensive personnel is bottom half of the league. We haven't drafted good defensive players in a very long time, since 2015 if the bar is Pro Bowler. That's crazy. And we haven't had the money to overpay for talent in free agency. Next year we'll be able to buy guys, which, by the way, is freaking hilarious. So what, you're going to be the Bears? Like, well, we'll just give up on drafting because we can't do it, but maybe we can buy some talent. I'm going to be the Rams. It might as well be. They're better than you, apparently. Next poster says, entire defense got exposed. Ref this, ref that. Truth be told, I'm not even mad about the refs. We had no pressure at all from the edges. Our interior defensive line for the facing two backup rookie interior offensive linemen, no domination. Ivan Pace was getting outpaced the whole game. Stephon Gilmore got targeted. Byron Murphy, who was getting burnt. Shaw Griffin even got picked on. Josh Metellus and Harrison Smith both looked out of place, and Cam Bynum was a non-factor. We're 5-2, but we haven't had a comfortable game since the Texans. Don't know if I even can blame Flores. The whole roster played like crap today. Comment right below that says Stafford was pressured on 3 of 34 dropbacks, inexcusable against a backup offensive line, which is true, by the way. Let me see if I can find that stat. It's quite incredible. Of course, the comment beneath that says, if you miss 5 holdings and blocks in the back, it's hard to get pressure. First of all, even if you add the 5 holdings, which is stupid, it still doesn't really change the dynamic all that much. Here we go. This is from Seifert ESPN. Packers pressured Matt Stafford on only 3 of his 34 dropbacks. That 9% pressure rate was their lowest in a game since 2020. Again, there's a big difference between, this is actually a better opponent than it would seem. And this was a historically bad performance against a not super great offense. Even if you want to say it's not like the worst offense in football anymore because they got a couple wide receivers back, that doesn't matter. This is the worst defensive performance from a Vikings team since 2020. That means something. And it doesn't mean that this is the best offense they've faced since 2020, because that clearly is not the case. Pat Jones has a pass rush win percentage of 5%, which ranks 103rd out of 118 edge guys. Yet he plays 30-plus snaps every week. Where is Dallas Turner? Why isn't targeting Justin Jefferson 15-plus times a game not a core principle of this team's offensive game plan? The Vikings have to make defensive tackle a priority moving forward, just aren't getting much of anything from those guys inside. Finally, unpopular opinion, we weren't good enough last night. As soon as we burnt a timeout and the Rams were able to get a first down, I felt like we were done. We had 2 opportunities to score touchdowns instead of field goals in the red zone, but ultimately settled for 3. I say those things because, yes, we got hosed on the no call at the end of the game, but we had our opportunities to change the outcome early. It would have been great to get a win, but it didn't happen. Time to lick our wounds, assess what we need to assess, and move on to the next week. All right, well, I hate to do it, but we're gonna have to shift gears here. I feel like we've learned nothing. I mean, either the Vikings are perfectly fine and everything's great, and they're a very good football team. They just got screwed by the refs because of a global cabal. Or the sky is falling. They're the worst franchise in the history of the universe. The players are bad. The coaches are bad. Everything's bad. And they're never going to win another football game. And so, I don't know. It's one of those two things, though. That's for sure. It's definitely not something in the middle. It's definitely not, hey, we've got a really easy schedule coming up. We're probably going to win a bunch of games, almost guaranteed to get into the playoffs. It's definitely not that. Which, by the way, that is the truth, unfortunately. They have... I mean, granted, they lost to the Rams, so it's not a guarantee they win the rest of these games, but, it's bad. Like, the next 3 to 4 weeks are gimmies. But, couple things. First of all, Jonathan Ford is back to the practice squad, as was kind of always expected. So that's good to hear. As far as the injury report, let me pull this bad boy up right here. So, couple differences. Jair went to full participant on Friday. He is full go for the game. Corey Ballantyne still has not practiced. He is doubtful for the game. Kenny Clark was full participant on Friday and is full go. Elton Jenkins still limited, but he's full go for the game. Josh Myers, not so much luck. He was also limited, but is questionable for the game. Keyshawn Nixon, full participant, full go. Jaden Reed, full. Quay Walker, limited, questionable. He is still apparently on the concussion protocol. Again, still don't fully understand how that all works, what it all means, but essentially he just got to clear it. They got to be like, nah, he's fine, and get him off the protocol, and then he can play. Christian Watson, full participant, full go. Colby Wooden, also, he's been full all week. And then Wyatt is also questionable in this game. He's been limited all week. So, Myers, Quay, and Wyatt are questionable. Quay... not the biggest fan, I guess you could say. Wyatt, a huge fan, but we've been without for a while. Josh Myers remains the biggest concern, I guess, at this point for me personally, not necessarily because he's the greatest football player, but just because of what it does to the rest of our offensive line, including our depth. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got 3 guys as unspecified: Eric Armstead, Gabe Davis, and Evan Ingram. 2 of those were for full participants, Evan Ingram and Eric Armstead. And then questionable across the board after that. Travis Etienne, Otamewu, the defensive end, Cam Robinson, their tackle, Mason Smith, defensive tackle, Olakun, linebacker, Wingard, defensive back. They are all questionable in the game. Mason Smith was a new addition. He did not participate on Friday. That, surprisingly, the one guy that we haven't talked about at all is the one that's probably the least likely to play. When you don't practice on Friday, he had an ankle injury. Probably not the greatest. But that's about it. Again, we'll see what happens. There's really nothing here that I would look at and go, man, this is going to make the difference. You could tell me that there's no Wyatt, no Walker, no Ballantyne, and no Myers, and I'm still going to tell you there's no excuse to lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not going to go all the way in on the Jaguars because I'll save a lot of that for tomorrow. But let's take a look at something. This is a 2-5 football team, right? Their wins have, so one of the things that Matt LaFleur said as well, that they've been really close games, right? They lost to Miami by 3. They lost to Cleveland by 5. We'll ignore the Bills game where they lost by 37. They lost to Houston by 4. They also lost to Chicago by 20? But we'll ignore that as well. It's actually a really good team. Let's be very serious about this. They have won 2 games. Those 2 wins came against the Colts, which they almost lost. That's embarrassing. And the Patriots. Now, it was a beating. They beat the Patriots pretty bad. But the Patriots are probably the worst team in football. Beyond that, their last 2 losses have been 35-16 to the Bears and, there's the Texans, and then the 47-10 to the Bills. Also the Texans, 24-20. In fact, we can really quickly sum this up. The way that you look at things like this would be point differential. Sometimes you're getting screwed because your point differential is actually quite good, but your record is not because, you win big and lose small. Their point differential right now is the 25th worst. Excuse me, I said that wrong. They rank 25th with a -7 point differential. That is to say, on average, they lose by 7 points. Now, if you wanted to take that further, you could say, yeah, but they've had an unusually difficult schedule. The Dolphins, when they had Tua, Buffalo, Houston, Chicago might actually be a good team. Maybe those are, whatever. All right, fine. We can check that too. There's a little tool called DVOA that looks at how good of a job you did as compared to your opponent. In other words, we're going to take the opponent into account, and then we're going to judge how good of a job you did. So if you're beating teams, but you're losing to these really, really good opponents, then this would take that into account. According to DVOA, they are the 26th best team in football. 26th. Tennessee, Las Vegas, Miami, New England, Cleveland, and Carolina are the only 6 teams that are worse. Their offense ranks 14th, and their defense is 32nd. Worst defense in the entire NFL. So when you look at it and say, well, they rank 30th in points and 27th in yards, but that lacks context, you're right, it does lack context, and when you add context, it's worse for the Jaguars. They gave up 47, 24, 34, 35, and then 16 this past week against New England. Their offense ranks 30th their defense ranks 30th in turnovers, 26th in fumble recoveries, 29th in first downs, dead last in passing touchdowns, dead last in, passing touchdowns given up. They've given up 16. We're looking at defense. Stick with me. 30th in interceptions, they have 1. 30th in net yards per attempt passing. 32nd in percentage of drives that end in a turnover. 28th in time of possession. On average, teams have the ball or their drives last 3 minutes and 5 seconds. 26th in amount of plays given up per drive with 6.3. 31st in yards given up per drive, and 31st in points given up per drive. So yes, I understand that Matt LaFleur was very complimentary of the team. He was also very complimentary of Darnell Savage, calling him, I believe, an elite talent. I believe that was the terminology he used. I am not going to accept any excuses. You go ahead and give them excuses. I'm not going to. The Vikings are not getting any excuses against the Rams. I'm not giving the Bears or the Lions any excuses this week because they're facing easy teams. I'm not giving the Packers any excuses. That includes the referees, by the way. If we have to have a last-second comeback because we're down by 8 because we suck, and then there's a penalty that doesn't get called, yeah, no, sorry. I might complain about the penalty because, the referees are trash, et cetera, which, again, I agree with as far as Vikings fans are concerned. That's a correct observation. But that is not going to be an excuse for a loss. All right, folks, with that, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
We laugh at the enemy. We don't cower. We're not afraid of the enemy. No.